Indigenous and Northern Affairs.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and I'm pleased to respond to the question from the honourable member for Kamloops, Thompson, Caribou. I want to begin with a few words about this historic ruling, acknowledging, of course, that we are gathered on traditional Algonquin territory. The Supreme Court of Canada has made a landmark decision on a very important issue for Métis people, for non-status Indians, and for this country. Close to 32% of Indigenous peoples in Canada self-identify as Métis people, representing communities in Ontario, Manitoba, Saskatchewan, Alberta, and British Columbia. And non-status Indians represent over 200,000 people in this country. In every case, they deserve clarity, and they deserve our partnership, not the jurisdictional tug-of-war that they have experienced for far too long in Canada. That is why I want to thank the Supreme Court for bringing the much-needed and long-awaited clarity to this important issue. The Government of Canada welcomes and will respect the decision. We are committed to working in partnership with all Indigenous peoples impacted by the decision, along with partners, to ensure that we are following the court's direction in implementing this judgment. And as with any historic ruling, Mr. Speaker, the government and all those impacted must take the time to review the decision carefully. It is premature to assign costs and timelines to this important issue at this juncture. Following court direction and ensuring careful review is paramount, and making progress will require cooperation and genuine partnership in order to advance this important dialogue and map the way forward together. Indeed, the government has already been working on renewing the relationship with the Métis and non-status Indians. As Métis Council, National Council President Carter said, the new government has already recognized the Métis Nation and is prepared to deal with us on a nation-to-nation basis. And as Dwight Dory, the National Chief of Indigenous Peoples Assembly of Canada, said, this ruling is a historical recognition that has been long overdue. We will work with all partners to advance reconciliation and renew the relationship based on cooperation, respect for rights, our international obligations, and a commitment to end the status quo. I look forward to having the support of all colleagues and to working closely with the Minister over the next while to ensure that this is done. This is our promise. This is what we intend to do. Our government's overarching commitment is to renew the relationship between Canada and Indigenous peoples based on recognition of rights, respect, cooperation, and partnership. The Supreme Court decision speaks to a renewal of that relationship and reaffirms that we are on the right path. Mr. Speaker, as I have said, the Government of Canada respects the decision. And again, this is a new chapter. It is a brighter and more hopeful chapter in which we will be able to lift up Indigenous peoples throughout the country. The Supreme Court decision reaffirms that conviction. And as a parliamentarian and a Canadian, I welcome the support of all partners in realizing that vision and looking forward in implementing the ruling of this historic decision on behalf of the hundreds and thousands of Métis and non-status Indians across Canada. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.